What's up everybody, Ian here with Redline. I've got a lot of parts that I know I'm going to need to powder coat for Project Redline, my 67 Nova build, and I'm not trying to drive back and forth and spend a bunch of money and time taking stuff to the powder coaters every time I need a little bracket done or something like that. So I decided to spend about $400 and get all of the stuff to do it myself at home. Let me go ahead and give a disclaimer. I have never done this before. I have zero experience powder coating, so if you're watching this to see how it goes for a first timer, great. If you're looking for a pro to teach you exactly what to do, this ain't the video for you. So let me show you all the gear that I've got. I picked up Eastwood Company's dual voltage powder coating system. You'll notice that it's got a little diverter right here on the end of the gun. I'm going to be pulling that off for the small parts that I'm going to do today. Supposedly you only need that for larger parts and whatnot. We'll see. I'm going to start off trying without it and see how it goes. Their dual voltage system, you can see what the box looks like right there. There's a little switch on it to select voltage. You've got an alligator clip here on one end to clamp onto your part, and then you've got a little handheld button control to set it up to go ahead and control your voltage. I went ahead and picked up 3 extra bottles so that after I poured my powder into one of those bottles, I didn't have to try and then pour it back into a bag. I could just store it in the bottle. From the reading that I found online, I wanted to go ahead and get my powder from Eastwood Company because supposedly the powder that you get from Harbor Freight is total crap. So what we've got here is a pound of mirror black powder, mirror powder red, and powder silver vein, 1 pound. The parts that I'm going to try out doing here today, you can see them here, some round tubing that's been bent to a 90, bare metal, got some surface rust on it. I've got another piece that's got even more surface rust, a little smaller tubing. I've got a little spanner tool that I made for working on the gear drive on my kayak, and then also another 90-degree piece here that's square tubing that's rusted. You'll notice that I've taken MIG welding wire, drilled a hole in all the pieces, and I've got MIG welding wire looped through it so that I can hang those parts. Few pieces that I've got that did not come with this kit. I've got some gloves that I can wear to try and keep the oil on my fingers off of the part once I get it clean. I picked up a air pressure regulator that will go straight into the gun. Got a couple of disposable inline moisture filters, keep the water out of the gun. I've got a little infrared thermometer here so I can monitor the temperature of my parts. A 3M respirator to make sure I don't breathe the powder. Got some shop towels to clean up my parts. I will mention that if I was doing serious parts that I really wanted an excellent finish on, I would not be using just any random shop towel. I'd be using something that was kind of like a lint-free cleaning rag, a professional cleaning rag. And then I would also go over the part probably with a tack cloth to get any lint off of it. Being that I don't care about these parts at all, I'm not going to bother doing that today. I've also got a gallon of acetone. Not sure why, but the manual says to use acetone. I already had some lacquer thinner, so I went to the store and got some acetone. Most folks know that you've got to have an oven or something that you can bake your part with so that you can melt that powder and bake it onto the part. I know you can get ovens online on Craigslist for 50 to 75 bucks all day long, but the problem with that is if your part doesn't fit inside that oven, you can't powder coat it. So I decided to try something a little different. We're going to see how it works. Picked up this infrared light on a stand, 2,000 watt bulbs. Got this thing off of eBay for like 230 something bucks. You can see it's got a timer on it right here so I can set how much heat is coming off of it, and then obviously as well as the timer, rolls around and adjusts the angle, the whole 9 yards. The reason I wanted to try the infrared light is because if I've got a bigger part that I need to do, supposedly we'll see, I'll be able to heat up one portion of it, bake it, move the light as I go, and be able to ultimately do a bigger part than what I could stick in an oven. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the idea. I did read that your moisture filters would continue to absorb water through the humidity over time and would basically ruin themselves just by sitting on the shelf. So I don't know if this is going to do any good or not, but I'm going to store mine in an airtight bag. I am also going to test my theory here with my heat lamp. I've got a piece of square tubing that's probably 30 inches or so long. It is substantially longer than the width of my heat lamp, as you can see here. So I'm going to try and bake half of this, move it, bake the other section of it, and just see, can I really do a piece of infinite length, and how does it look where the two powder coated sections there meet each other from one side to the other? We're going to find out. All right, it's time to blast all of my parts. It is worth mentioning that once I pull my redneck wind chime here out of my blaster, I will not touch those parts again with my bare hands. I'll be using gloves when I touch them. I do have a Redline REPP70 pressure pot media blast cabinet at home. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to try a few different approaches. Number one, I'm just going to blast all of the parts, and then when they come out of this thing, one of the parts, I'm not going to do anything more than just blow the dust off of it. No cleaner, no nothing, straight out of the blaster. Coat it that way, see what happens. I also want to do the same thing, but take another part, wipe it down with acetone after I blow the dust off of it, see how that one works. And then I've got one other approach that I want to try. Supposedly, if you preheat a part, you crank it up to 400 degrees and leave it there for a half hour or so, it will take all of the contaminants from inside the part and bring them up to the surface, at which time you can let the part cool off and clean that off with acetone. So I'm going to take one of my parts and preheat it, let it cool back down, clean it, see how it does. So we're going to take a couple of different approaches to preparing the part for powder coating and just see whether or not there's any difference. For you guys at home that don't have a great big blast cabinet like I do, consider using a wire wheel on the end of a power drill or a set of sanding sponges. These sponges are fantastic. They'll conform around surfaces, and they just do a great job of cleaning up parts. There we have it, a freshly cleaned part down to the bare metal in the blaster with a mixture of crushed glass and 10X. Okay, first things first, I've got to blow all the dust off of my parts that was left over from the sandblaster. As said earlier, I'm wearing a glove to make sure I don't get any oil from my hands on the parts. Next, I'm going to wipe down all of my parts with exception of one part with acetone. So this is interesting. I thought that the sandblaster wouldn't really leave anything, but you can tell from my rag, there's a little crud on there. Had I thought about it and got some tack cloths to do this, I would use them now to get the lint off that was left over from my paper towels. Tack cloth is really a cloth that kind of looks like cheesecloth, but it's sticky and leaves no residue, so you just, kind of use it to get the lint off of stuff. Since I don't have any, I'm going to blow them off again now that I've cleaned them with the acetone. Okay, this is the piece that I'm going to preheat. I did notice that I've got a little smudge on the metal right there by the wire hole. I'm going to leave it there just to see if it affects anything. I decided I'm going to go ahead and preheat two parts. Both of them I'm going to let cool, and after they cool, I'm going to wipe them out with acetone again. However, one of those two parts that I have preheated, I will then preheat again and put my powder on while the part is hot, and we'll see how that goes as well. All right, so check this out. I don't seem to be getting enough heat onto my parts. 116, 17 degrees, not even close. So I'm going to try something and see if this works. Alright, I felt like all of my heat was just passing the part and not getting reflected back onto it. It was just going right by it. So, trying a little redneck trick here to see if this does any good. Just set up a stand, put some aluminum foil right behind it, and see if we can't reflect that heat back onto the part and not just make it pass it. We'll see. Alright, so with the aluminum foil behind the part, it's been on there for maybe 20-30 minutes, and we can see here the part is, you see that? It's not hot enough. I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot, but I don't think it's going to work. Alright, I have pre-attempted nothing to this point. Very first time here about to apply some powder. I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll see. Alright, I had to constantly adjust my air pressure. I started off at basically 0 and just started increasing it until I got a good flow. Very little air pressure to do this stuff, 5 to 10 psi, somewhere in that neighborhood. I felt like the powder flowed onto it very, very well. I was very happy with how that did. At this point, you know, my big variable is, can I get it hot enough? We'll see. I do want to mention that I've clamped my alligator clamp there to my ground wire. I've also added in a cloth so that I'm not trying to energize this giant piece of tubing. It's a good time to mention that they tell you with the manual to only fill your bottle up to about 1 inch or 2 full. I probably used about 1/2 inch or so of a bottle to do these 2 parts. So this piece of round tubing was preheated and then cleaned, but the powder was put on while it was cool. To my surprise, it appears as though the powder is actually melting and starting to gloss over. Really glad to see that, considering I didn't really think it would get hot enough to do anything. I'll share something with you I just learned. I just took my alligator clamp off of my little hanging wire, and in doing so, my part began to swing a little bit, hit my aluminum foil and my infrared heat lamp. I really should be more patient and just leave this stuff until the curing process is completely done. Learn from my mistakes. Well, there we have it. This is my first ever powder-coated part. Looks absolutely fantastic. No blemishes, nice and smooth, really glossy. Looks awesome. I'm super pleased with this. One of the things I've heard makes powder coating so much more desirable than paint is how easy it is to clean up. No solvents, dirty hands, none of that mess. You just take a blowgun to your powder coating gun and blow the powder right off of it. Let's see how it works. Looks great. It's totally clean. No solvents to clean a gun. That's nice. This is the part I did not clean with acetone. Let's do it in red and see what happens. I used a little bit more pressure this time. It went on really, really well. I think it looks fantastic. I don't see any trash in it, any blemishes at all. Can't wait to bake this one and see what we got. Okay, so for the non-acetone cleaned part, I wanted to try baking the part without doing the aluminum foil backing. And kind of what I'm beginning to see here is, see if you can see this, it's glossy on one side, but not on the other. It's still dull on the back side, so it looks like having that aluminum foil backing to reflect the heat on the opposite side of the part really is doing some good. And since I did my aluminum foil trick, the back side of it, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's glossing over very nicely. So this is awesome. The one piece that I took out of the blaster, hit it with compressed air, blew the dust off of it, is one of my best looking parts. No trash, no blemishes, no fish eyes, no nothing. It just looks awesome. All right, now it's time to do my long part in some silver vein powder. One of the things that's so cool about powder coating is, suppose that I got a little blemish right here where I accidentally bumped into it. No big deal. You just blow off the powder and reapply more. So far, everything appears to be coming along good in my attempt to try and double cure a part. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see a very nice defined line right here where it starts making the transition. When I cut off the lights here, you can see it a lot better. See how it just goes from flat to gloss? Okay, let's go ahead and move our light. So there we have it. I have powder coated a piece which was substantially longer than my lamp was wide. It really looks fantastic. I'm very happy with it. I will tell you though that if you really eyeball it hard, right here in this transition where one side that I baked meets the other, you can actually tell. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. I mean, it's just so minute that honestly, I could hand this piece to you and ask you to inspect it and say, what do you think? And it looks so good, you would probably never even know that I baked it in 2 different sections. So I consider this test a winner chicken dinner. All right, let's do a little durability test on our powder coating. I really feel like it's working well. It's doing much better than paint. Looks good. Well, I got to admit, I did not see this one coming. I've got this great big heavy-duty extension cord that I used to run my, my lamp because I knew it was going to draw a lot of amps. And I don't know if you can see that or not. I can. The two pieces of plastic kind of welded themselves together. Might need a bigger cord for this. Let's see if I can get it apart. In conclusion, the Eastwood kit did fantastic. The quality of the powder was great. It did fantastic also using the light instead of an oven. I confirmed that I can in fact powder coat something that is larger than would typically fit in your average oven. I did find it to be odd that I really got pretty much the same result. Whether I preheated it, whether I cleaned it with acetone, it didn't matter. The blaster did such a good job of getting it right down to the bare metal that everything turned out fantastic no matter what. If I take these two pieces here, you really can't tell the difference. You would never know that one of them was preheated and cleaned with acetone and that the other just simply had the dust blown off of it. You wouldn't know. I will say that I did get a little bit of lint in this piece here that I didn't get off of it. So honestly, I think I got a better result when I didn't clean it with the acetone and just had no ability to get any kind of lint stuck to the part. So I'm very, very happy with the results. I feel like I actually know what I'm doing now, or I could do a part that I cared about and get a solid finish. Guys, if you want to see more of the videos that I do here for Redline, click the subscribe button. If you want to see me powder coat all of the parts for Project Redline, my 67 Nova build, be sure to click subscribe and follow that build. By all means, please give this video a thumbs up down below if you thought it was helpful. Comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this video. Call me out if I got something wrong. Other people are going to see this, and so if I gave bad information, feel free to put those comments down below and educate everybody else in case you know something that I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed making the video for y'all. Have a good weekend. Ian here at Redline. I'm out.